This is Aaron Kaiser. I am doing COVID-19 interviews, and I am comparing experiences during the COVID-19 pandemic, and in particular people's education experiences with graduating in 2020. Today I'm going to interview Lizzie Knight, who's my daughter, and she just graduated from Sky Community College, and okay, Lizzie. Yep, there's a few bugs around. I want to ask you some questions about your perceptions about COVID-19, and well, what are your perceptions of the disease?
I guess like as a whole, or
I guess as a whole.
I don't know. I mean, I definitely think I'm one of the ones that definitely thinks it's real, and I think it's worth the precautions over. Just because, I mean, hopefully that question goes in deep. But I think that we definitely need to be taking precautions to try to get rid of it, considering other countries have been pretty successful at that so far. But it's definitely a lot. It's like it's a lot of mental turmoil, I guess. Like, it's a lot to think about between, rent, jobs being suspended and rent still being due, and it's a lot to it.
Right.
Still having school, clearly.
Absolutely. So you're obviously taking it seriously, as you said. Mm-hmm. Has that perception changed over time since the beginning, or?
I guess it's gotten, I don't know. I don't want to say less. I guess I've gotten to understand it better, because at the beginning it was kind of just, it's everywhere, it's in the air, like, which obviously it's viral, but you know what I mean. Like, if you try to be safe about it, you can kind of. There's safer ways to go about it, obviously. Like, if you're going to be around people, you just got to be careful about who you're around right now, too, because it is so easily spread and everything like that. But I don't know. I feel like this question's hard. I'm not the best at these, but
well, just speak your mind, how you feel.
It used to be, I guess, like I said, it was a lot scarier, because like we knew nothing about it. We didn't know at first that it mostly affected the elderly. We didn't know, anything about it, and obviously we still don't know as much. It's still relatively new in terms of diseases that we've known about, but
right.
I think having information about it is more helpful. It's like a way to be less afraid, I guess, or less nervous, to have something that can maybe not combat it, but decrease risk, I guess.
Right. So when and how did you first become aware of the virus?
Well, I remember, it was the news in January, when it was in China, when it first became big, and then obviously it didn't get here until March. So I guess I first heard about it definitely in January, but it was kind of a dormant thing until about March, when it came here. And then March 16th is when the restaurants closed, so obviously that was my job, so that was when I was really like, okay. And then like 3 days later is when my internship couldn't let me back in, because it was a nursing home, so that one I definitely understood that, because obviously that is the most at-risk population, not only elderly but have other health issues as well,
right?
So, and physical rehabilitation. So that's when I first became aware, for sure.
Are you worried for yourself, or are you worried about your parents and grandparents?
I'm not really worried as much about myself. Like, if I were to get it, I wouldn't be as scared about necessarily the physical toll that it would take on me. There are like studies coming out now about how it can kind of link to, different brain or heart conditions like later on. I don't know, just because of it being in your system. But I'm still not as concerned about getting it. It's more my mom being pregnant and my mama being a diabetic, and just older family members I'm a lot more concerned about, or those with pre-existing conditions. That's what I'm most concerned about. And obviously just people out and about. I work in a restaurant. Obviously since we've been reopened, we do the most precautions we can there to do it safely, and everything's been fine so far.
All right. Are you resentful at all of the restraints or constraints you're now under?
I'm actually not. I know that one's an unpopular opinion because everyone's big mad right now, but I'm kind of rolling with it. And I mean, obviously today it just changed back to the restrictions changed again today. We reopened initially in May at 33% capacity for the restaurant. Outdoor seatings you can fill up. It's fine because it's more ventilated, air getting it through. But today is when it changes back to 25% capacity indoors. It's for 2 weeks, to be fair, so it's not a permanent thing. And bars are closed again. So that I just feel like it's changing as it needs to with the information that's being presented. So it just depends.
Yeah, I'm in the same ballpark with you as far as not being upset about constraints and stuff like that.
Whatever you got to do to help other people out,
yeah.
In my opinion, because that's the thing is, even with the mandates and everything, the mask mandate, you have to wear it in a public space, and people, especially in Kentucky, a lot of people will literally do anything they can to get out of something like that, and it's, people will say that they'll go fight in the hills, they'll live in a bunker for their country, but they can't wear a piece of fabric, they wanted everything to be reopened, but they won't follow the very simple, rule for it. So, I don't know. I'm not mad about it. I think whatever they need to do, because obviously at this point, they can't sit there forcing people to put on masks. So it's whatever they want to do to, help people, just make it safer for people to be out and about. If the numbers are rising, you gotta do something.
Right.
It's not permanent.
What changes have you made to your daily lives, if any?
Honestly, me and my boyfriend are hermits. We don't really do anything. I guess the biggest difference is just I'm more careful about where I'll eat. I'll eat at my work because I know that we clean everything well, and then we probably eat a lot more to go, just because if there's no need to be out in public, why bother? And that was kind of the same way before, but obviously now when other people's health's at risk, I'm like, yeah, well, we can go get our food to go, it doesn't matter. But again, I guess it's just being safe about it and thinking about other people and trying to, because again, I am not scared about getting it. I want to prevent it if possible, because that's my biggest concern would be being a carrier, not knowing it, being asymptomatic like a lot of people are. So. Right.
Yeah, it's a joke amongst veterans, social distancing. We've already been doing that, Why do we have to start?
We don't do anything. I guess the biggest difference is obviously the mask. It's having to do the quick little trot back to your car because you forgot your mask before you go to the store. That's what I had to do right before this.
Yeah, when we went out for the frozen yogurt the other night, there was a family that didn't have their masks, and they had to go back out to get their masks.
All the time. We watch them go back out to their car.
Are you aware of any conspiracy theories about COVID-19?
Oh my God.
What are they, and what do you think about them?
I think my favorite one is that the government's using it as a conspiracy so that they can put chips in everybody, as if people don't carry around tracking devices in their pocket 24/7. Oh, that one's really funny. I'm trying to think. I've heard probably a million. I'm just trying to think. Oh, that the government created the coronavirus to force everyone to stay inside for whatever reason, even though that ruins the economy. They got us. But it's just so funny. I just want to know who sits and comes up with this stuff. They're using, that 5G causes coronavirus. Is that one I heard?
Yeah.
There's something about everything. It's hilarious.
That's the big one Brenna's mother is promoting.
That's good.
Yeah.
Classic comedy.
When Brenna came this summer, that's what she said. That's what she was thinking.
Really?
Um, how do you think the government has reacted to COVID-19, locally, state, and national?
I think our local government's doing a good job. I think Andy Bashir is doing a good job. I appreciate him.
Don't say that in front of your mother.
Oh, I know. No, I know. She hates him. But I know. I've been pretty open. I've told her before. I support him. I think he's doing a great job. I mean, even with the thing yesterday where they changed it to the capacity again, it's for 2 weeks. It's because the cases were spiking. And he's literally, of course, he's getting an insane amount of backlash. He had people outside of his house hanging an effigy of him from a tree with his kids watching. Like, he's doing an amazing job. He is literally only trying to protect people, and he's just got into office right before this happened. Like, if it was Bevan, we'd all be dead. Like,
Right.
Not even from that, just in anything. Like, something would have killed us all by this point, because that man is a joke. But God, Trump, just not even bother, because pretty sure he thinks the whole thing's fake too. I'm sure anything he's done to combat it he was forced to. Like, pretty much anything he's done, he's got a million advisors speaking. Oh, this is gonna look bad if you don't do that. And he can sure go golfing every weekend though, even during. But he wasn't ever gonna take a paycheck.
Right.
Getting on a tangent here, but you know what I mean.
Right.
I think the local government's done better than the federal. I'll say that.
Right. So, what do you think about other governments and what have they done in their response, like other countries and stuff like that you've heard about?
A lot of other countries are already getting it under control. Like, I know there's a couple that have had a resurgence, but I mean, that was gonna happen. That was gonna happen here. I said even if it had gotten wiped out, I already said that we were gonna get another resurgence in the fall. It's just like a virus. I mean, that's to be expected. But so many other countries outside of ours have already gotten it together pretty much. Like, if there's still cases, it's so low and it's shrinking because people will wear. A lot of other countries are a lot more focused on community and doing things together as opposed to the individualism here. People literally are like, I don't have to wear a mask, but that's my right. And it's like, yes, but it's also a mandate now. And
Right.
It's not about you. So I think I'm jealous of other countries a lot of the time. I'll say, especially right now.
America.
It's not all bad, but they definitely, people need to think about other people a lot more, because you can definitely tell the individualism here is rampant because people do not care if it's not them at all.
Right.
Which is frustrating.
Well, you are a graduate this year from Sky Community College, and want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
What are your perceptions on how your school handled this crisis?
I think they did a pretty good job too. I mean, it's hard. It sucks. It's a sucky situation. Like, no one wants to have to do anything, and no one wants to switch everything to online learning. But again, when it's a threat, when something needs to, when they need to eliminate as much risk as possible, you have to do what you have to do. And it was the middle of the semester at that point. Obviously, right now everyone's scrambling to figure out what's happening in terms of online or in-person classes right now. But if an order is made, stuff has to be closed, go for it. I think they did good at keeping everyone involved. I'm pretty sure I got emails at some point about, if you need someone to talk to, if you need something, basically, like I said, this is a mental toll on everybody too. If you need to talk about what's going on, if you don't have a job, you don't have your income, it just providing some kind of resources for if you need to talk to them. But they have counselors and everything. I think they did a good job of making the best out of out of a bad situation, I guess. It's a small school. I guess it's easier to be a little more, what's the word? Connected, I guess, community centered.
Right.
But I still think they did a good job with it. As well as they could.
How'd you feel about the classes suddenly being delivered through alternative means like the computers and stuff?
It was, to be fair, this semester I had all online classes, so it didn't change my load. But if you think, you think about nursing and stuff like that, where they had to go from where they need to be in person, but again, they had to do what they had to do. But obviously I think that that's a concern because you just don't retain as much online, and it's not that it was anyone's fault, but it's going to be hard to, I feel like, recuperate from the learning loss there. We obviously don't know how long it'll go on either.
Right. So you had computer access, obviously, since all your classes were.
Yeah, luckily, I was privileged enough to be able to have a laptop, when I started college, and I'm glad it's been kicking through college because it's what got me through, but some people aren't as lucky with that. So I know that they tried to be really accommodating too at Sky with like computer labs if they could. Obviously, I didn't use them, so I'm assuming they had safety restrictions in place there as well, like masks and distancing and everything. But the fact, again, since it was something out of their control, like the schools and everyone's, like the fact that they tried to give alternative means, or they did what they could with what they were dealt, I think that was appreciated at least. But it definitely, again, with certain classes that you just can't really learn as much in. I mean, think about like arts and stuff like that, and like manufacturing stuff like that. It's stuff that you just can't fully absorb online. So hopefully they can figure out some kind of, I don't know if there'll be a program or just like something just to try to get some hands on, because you couldn't in the past. I don't know. All of this is up in the air. I feel like all these questions, I'm just like, meh.
Well, do you feel like your education or anyone else's education has been compromised?
I guess possibly a little bit. Like I said, with the classes, like there's just some stuff that you're not gonna learn as well. I mean, I'll be honest, it's harder to retain stuff online. It was more of a convenience factor for me without me working so much. I took that, and with my career path, it was lucky that I was able to take stuff online. That's the thing, is a lot of paths are not meant at all for that. So surely in nursing and more very important pathways like that, you can't learn as much as you can in person. So I'm hoping hopefully they'll find something or some way to like make up for that, because again, it's only been the last semester as of now, but we don't know how long it'll go on, and you can't do a full 4 years of online nursing or something like that.
Right.
Ooh.
So how did you feel about your commencement ceremony being indefinitely?
I was all about it. When my younger brother graduated in May, I was talking about how I wish that had been my graduation, because I just got to sit there for 3 hours and watch a bunch of people I didn't care about walk across the stage, and you're just bored out of your mind. Like and I mean, I get the formality of it, and I get that it's a big event, it's a celebration, like, but I guess it's just my personal opinion that I loved the personalized, like, art. Mine was a 5-minute in and out deal. Like, it was perfect, and you don't, and especially with, the only thing was the 3 guests, obviously, and the same with my brother, where you only get a limited amount, and so you
Right.
Like a giant family, you have to sit and pick and choose between who you want what I've been working towards for 3 years. So that was the only really sucky part, that and it being outside, but safest method again. But again, it was super fast. Literally, it was like go tell them your name and then walk across, grab your little thing, and then we're like, all right, let's go. Like, it was pretty neat. And they still tried to I appreciated that they did something, because like I said, in the spring there was nothing, like, obviously yours was online, like there was a lot of schools that literally, I think Sky in the spring, they did a drive-through thing where they, you drive and they give you your little stuff. So I just appreciate they were still trying to do the best with what they could in each of these instances. So I just appreciated that on their part, because they still tried to make it feel kind of special for you as much as they could.
Right. Yeah, I think that total experience lasted maybe about 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, that was great with me. I loved it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure other people would be really upset to lose out on the actual formality and the whole ceremony of it. But
Right.
I was fine with it.
Well, considering how hot it was too,
That's
it was
true, but
it
I
was
am, like,
nice.
I feel like I'm one of the most anti-heat people. Like summer, I hate summer. I'm like slapping these flies off and I'm sweating, but like I still liked it. I still liked it better than if I would have been stuck in a gym with 300 people, or however many would have been in my actual class. But I liked it better. I would take that any day over a formal graduation ceremony.
Now, I understand that. I really do. So, well, I'd like to thank you for this interview
Thank you
and
for this interview.
let you know it'll be going in the archives. So someone will probably look you up in probably 60 years
Cool.
and go, hey,
What a nerd.
I saw you when you graduated.
In 2020, you graduated during the apocalypse.
Right.
We all did.
So,
You did it.
yes. So, but thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
Right.
you.